Hello, how are we all doing? It's Tornado922 here, and it's a bit late, I know, but it's time that I did your question and answers with my little trusted device here. So I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. So I suspect this may be in two parts. Now it may look like I'm actually looking away from you guys, but the camera is here. But obviously the screen is in front of me and I'm looking at myself. So I'll try and look at the camera where possible. If I look at myself, it looks like I'm actually looking at something in the far distance. So try and ignore that. So we'll start off with just Phillip Strain's. He goes, "Hi Jared, love the videos. I've been a long time subscriber and you were the one who made me start my YouTube channel, but what made you start yours? Hope to meet you soon, JPT." Well, thank you very much for saying so. That's greatly appreciated, and it makes me happy knowing you've actually stuck with my channel for like all this time now, because it's just it's not in the slightest bit professional. I mean, really, is it? Just look at the videos that I do. They're not the greatest in the world. I mean, I don't even edit them really. I mean, I think I've got my. Well, at some stage during this, I'll go and get my tablet and I'll show you exactly what I used to film on. Because I've got another tablet which I'm using to do this. Go figure. But yeah, what made me start my channel? Well, basically it's because I've got a tablet, essentially. And I've always had a thing with trains since I've been a child. And I had this tablet and I thought, oh, this can do films. And it can take pictures and it had decent enough picture quality on it. The microphone wasn't too bad either, so I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. So about 4 years ago, I went to Cheddington and it was absolutely pouring it down with rain. I've got to get used to looking at this. I'm sorry, I keep looking at this, the screen, but I've actually got to look at this. It makes it look like I'm actually looking at you lot. Yeah, so I went to Cheddington about 4 years ago, and honestly, go and have a look at it. It's tragic, it really is. My first ever video that I tried with commentary. Good grief, it's actually atrocious. But I'm sure I'll be able to meet you at some stage. Obviously I just need to know what stations are local to you, so I can come to you essentially. Right, Sam Graves, a long good friend of mine whom I haven't spoken to in a fair old while. Can I come on a train spotting journey with you, as I want to get into the train spotting? Yes, I know, shock horror, but sometimes I'll pop down to Northampton or Milton Keynes and look at some of the traffic that comes through. And also, why are Pacers so hated, as Northern tend to use a hell of a lot of them? Yeah, you're more than welcome to come down with me anytime you want. Obviously, I'll let you know what stations I'll be going to, and obviously when I'm going, and then we can get something organised. Pacers were never designed to last as long as they did. They were basically a cheap source for British Rail at the time. They're based off an old Leyland bus. Their chassis is based off an old bus chassis, so it was never designed to go great distances on railways. Like most trains nowadays have, with their bogies, have essentially two axles to them. This is just a solid base. There's no give in it. So, like, I'll show you. It's a tad crude, but this will basically give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Ignore the fact this is complete. This is a. Yeah, ignore the fact this is a German logo. It's Siemens, so it's modern, but we'll gloss over that. Now I'll lean into the camera so you can essentially see this. It's got more weight to it than I think. So as you can see, okay, it's a model, so but bear with. So as you can see, there's give in each bogie, and that is based on a real engine as well. So most modern trains nowadays have essentially suspension, so they can ride the rails and give a smoother ride. Now the Pacer is a fixed body, so that basically means that there's no give at all. So it hits a bump, you're going to know it. And it's woefully uncomfortable, it's far too noisy. They'll put a Pacer on a very busy route at times, and it's basically just shambolic. And the reason Northern have them is the fact that Northern gets all of the hand-me-downs from every other company. Classic case in point is the 319s they now have. Excuse me. The 319s were with Thameslink. They've now been given to Northern, and basically Northern are getting all the hand-me-downs. So anything that the old TOCs don't want anymore, Northern gets. So regional railways had the 142s and 144s, and when Northern, or whenever they basically got franchised, the original Northern lot were given it. Because A, they're cheap to run, cheap to maintain, they're just terrible, quite frankly. They really are absolutely atrocious. Stand behind the yellow lines. If you had a blank train ticket and could go anywhere in the UK, where would you go and why? Well, if I had a blank train ticket, then I would take the Caledonian Sleeper and the nighttime Riviera, because I'd like to see the sleeper services in both directions. So I'd do London to Glasgow and Edinburgh, then up to the likes of Fort William, Inverness, and then the Riviera from Paddington to Penzance and Penzance to Paddington. Just because it would be nice to see things from a different perspective, really, but yeah, that's basically what I would do. The Pendino chaps, what is your opinion on the relatively new South Western Railway franchise? Well, it didn't go at all well for them at first, did it? When they took over, obviously it was set up to be something massive, but obviously with the engineering works going off at Waterloo, it really did put things in a bit of a sticky situation, because you had 7 or 8 platforms that were actually shut, so he tried to get all this traffic into a much smaller section with engineering works going on at the same time. So the timetable was all over the place. There were trains running late, they had cancellations, so it really didn't start well for them. But they've got good plans for their franchise. There are many more services they want to put on there, with more trains, newer trains as well, and they want to get rid of the other ones. So the 455s, they're at some stage going to get phased out and replaced with more purpose-built inner suburban services. So yeah, I think, okay, they didn't start off too well, but let's see what happens in times to come. Right, Train Spotter 2001. Can you please film at Wigan North Western, and what inspired you to become a train spotter? Yes, I can film at Wigan North Western, quite happily. What inspired me to become a train spotter? Well, I've always been a huge lover of trains since I was a child anyway, and I've always enjoyed watching them. But what I really started doing this was, as I say, because I've got a tablet, and I thought, well, I like train spotting, I like watching train videos, so I thought I'd try my hand at making one myself. And it's sort of just gone on from there, really. God, excuse me. Right, Intrepid Mike, what is your preferred method of pacer, scrapping, cutting torch, explosion, launching them into space, or firing squad? Well, quite frankly, that's all too good for them. Cutting torch? Nah, that's too methodical. You could just cut sections out. Explosion? If you want. If you're going to do an explosion, then I want them all gathered into one, and then a 5 kiloton nuke. I think that should do the job. Launch them into space. Well, no, because you'd still see them. There'd be space junk flying around. Like, you could be in the International Space Station doing some major scientific breakthrough in 2057, and then, oh look, there goes the 1970s. We don't want that. Or firing squad. Nah, because you see, that wouldn't completely destroy them. So, nuke them or drop them in a volcano. Now that I like, because they'll be melted, and then the Earth can think of something valuable to do with them. There we are. See, sussed it. See, Northern, if you ever want to scrap your pacers, come to me. I'm your man. I'm the man for the job. Jonathan Salmon, do you think Great Western Railway should keep the HST or completely switch them to the Hitachi? Will you miss sticking your head out the windows? Love the vids, man. Keep up. Hope life's good. Well, yes, obviously, I would love to see the HSTs stay forever. Who wouldn't? But times are changing. you know, the whole thing with emissions and global warming, climate change, all that malarkey. They're always looking for a greener, more efficient way to make public transportation that much better. I mean, slightly off topic, but look at the buses in London. Half of them are like, well, not even in London, but a lot of cities in Europe are like natural gas buses. And some are electric buses, you've got electric taxis. So the railways have got some catching up to do. Yes, you can fit that HSTs with newer engines with less emissions, but I don't know. I'd like to see HSTs stay with Great Western Railway, but you've still got East Midlands trains going. VTEC, they've still got those on the cards. ScotRail obviously getting the Great Western HSTs. So there is going to be a new lease of life for them. But Great Western are keeping HSTs in short sets. So they're still going to have use for them, but just nothing astonishing. But I've yet to see the Great Western version of the 800. I've seen the VTEC one when I was at York last year for the big four. Really, it was five because the Deltic was on the rear of the Flying Scotsman. But yeah, I'd miss seeing the HSTs in all their glory, but I'm sure the 800s will do just as well. Okay, they didn't get off to a flying start really because there was the initial launch. They were delayed coming out of Bristol Temple Meads, and the idea was that it would get to Swindon and then go over onto the pantograph, which then didn't work because the system failed. So it had to then run on diesel all the way into Paddington, which wasn't the idea. So, and of course the Transport Secretary was present on that train. Yeah, we know how that one works. Chris Groening, what are you doing with the rail network, man? Although, to be fair to him, he has sort of said in the past that, well, I say in the past, in a few recent months, that he's gonna, he wants to sort of look at opening up all the former railway lines again, or at least some of them. So he's sort of getting there. Right, Southwest Rail fanning. Which is your favourite DMU in the Sprinter family? I'll probably say the 158. They're very comfortable, very quiet, great acceleration, and they've got a surprising amount of space on board. Right, dank trains in the UK. What's your opinion on King's Cross getting rebuilt in 2020? I've seen plans for it. I think it's been long overdue. The station could do with some tweaking. Obviously with all the additional services and everything else that you've got planned that you need to do on there, then yeah, it looks like it could work really well. Obviously, again, when they do this, it's going to cause no end of bedlam for the amount of services going there. Because obviously you've got Great Northern, VTEC, Grand Central, and Hull trains that all fight for space in that station. And the station is 90% full at any given time. So it could cause no end of carnage. But the finished product could go really, really well. It could work swimmingly. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it could all pan out. Right, Ash behind the camera, do you like the new 800s and the new 387s? Yeah. They're getting with the times. Okay, I know that that Hitachi has sort of stolen the show, really, with the new fleet coming in. I know you've got High Speed 1, you've got the Javelins running around on there. Obviously now you've got the 800s and the 802s that are going to be running around the English network. It would be nice to see some British-built trains again, like we used to. But now, obviously, we've got everything coming in from Japan and Spain. And obviously the Germans are getting involved with the Siemens units coming in around. But yeah, I don't see an issue with the new trains. I think they're nice enough. Citroën, try and go to Lime Street if you can. Well, I'll try and go at least once a year, so I'll have no doubt I should be going there at some stage. Transporter 60, what's your favourite station you've visited? Well, I get asked this every time, and I think I always say Doncaster, really. I mean, station-wise, it's nothing special. It's like there's much more better stations in the ways of architecture. Look, it's like St Pancras is architecturally beautiful, sublime. Manchester Piccadilly, stunning. But Doncaster just has something about it. It's old school. The layout is good. The amount of traffic is fantastic. The variety in traffic is just as good. So, yeah, it's Doncaster really. It's still up there. Rightio then. Train spotter 11 with a GCSE grade essay. If you had to pick your favourite train, would it be a Freightliner 70 or a Thameslink 700? Also, I would like to say that your channel is fantastic because all of the great videos you do and making everyone who watches your videos very happy. Smiley face. Well, thank you very, very much for saying so. It's greatly appreciated and I enjoy watching your videos as well. I don't always comment, but I do enjoy watching your films. Now, if I had to pick my favourite train out of a 70 or a 700, well, it's a 70 by a country mile. I mean, I always refer to the 700s as stormtroopers. If you don't catch my meaning, then go onto Google, type in Thameslink 700, or even the 707s, quite frankly. Have a look at those, and then also open up another tab and go Star Wars Stormtrooper, and look at the helmet design. You'll see the similarities, but the 70s just have something about them. Well, mostly it's because they look stunning, and when they're coming towards you at full tilt, my God, they sound incredible. They sound so good to listen to. Chilton 006. Who would you have preferred to have won the London Midland franchise, and what is your favourite EMU livery? You are awesome. Well, thank you very much for saying so. That is very much appreciated. Now, I didn't see who was shortlisted. No, sorry, to lie. I did see who was shortlisted for the West Midlands franchise bid. To be honest, it doesn't bother me too much who wins it. All I would want out of the deal is better train prices, more services being put on there, and more frequency depending on where they go. Now, obviously, this new franchise is dealt with in a completely different manner because normally it's the TOC that is responsible for everything and then goes to the Department for Transport for clarification of everything. Now, this franchise is actually a consortium of all the local regions that basically come together and agree on everything. Obviously, everything's still done via the TOC and the Department for Transport, but the local councils and what have you get basically like an equal say. So what these guys are now doing is they're putting on way more services during the later half of this year and into next year. And my biggest bugbear was always the London to Crewe train. Once every hour, 4 cars. Now, the 4 cars necessarily isn't an issue, but the length, the length of the journey, you needed some sort of onboard catering, quite frankly, because there are some people that could get on at London and wouldn't get off till Crewe, and that's a bloody long journey on a train that isn't necessarily built for that sort of length in mind. So what they could do is actually offer catering on board these services and actually make life easier excuse me, and far more bearable for people as well. Favourite EMU livery? I'd probably go with Silverlink, really. I think it just happened to... it suited the train really, really well. Ooh, that's better. Yes, I think Silverlink was probably my most preferred livery. Okay. Rowan Buckland. Do you think trains on the Derby to Crewe route should be 2 coaches full time? Also, my favourite DMU in the Sprinter family is a 158, but I don't mind 156s or 153s as I use them most to get to college. Also, what is your favourite Sprinter out of what EMT have? God above. Word of advice, don't get cold, because it's just naff. Yeah, Derby to Crewe. Now that's a mixture of 153s or 156s. So yes, whilst I like the 153s and I love seeing the 153s getting a decent amount of running, really, yes, I would actually. I think a two-car train is probably best, realistically. It just makes more sense to me. Right, yes, and sorry. Also, what is your favourite sprint out of what EMT have? Well, it'd be the 158. As it just that sort of route just makes the most amount. Well, that train makes the most amount of sense. Express super sprinters. So that makes most amount of sense to me. Owen Jedi 5000, hi Tornado 922. How was your year so far? So have you ever filmed at Cambridge North Stations? I've been meowed at. Do you want to come up here and say hello? Come on then. Come on. There you go. Say look. Go there. No, look. Hello. 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 Yep. Now she's. No, there we go. Look. 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 This is your moment. This is your chance to be famous. Evidently, she's not interested in fame. No, no, no. Hold on. Hold on. No. Okay. Yes. So yeah. How was the year so far? It's been terrible. Quite frankly, this has been the worst start to my year. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but two very personal issues, and obviously I've got this. But yeah, ultimately it's not been fantastic so far. And have you ever filmed at Cambridge North? No, I haven't. I've never filmed at Cambridge North. There's no reason why I couldn't. I'm sure I can go and film there quite happily. Owen Jedi 5000 again. Also, what did you think of the new Virgin livery on the Pendolinos? It's very good, considering what it is they have to do. Now they wanted to get them repainted anyway, but the DFT said if you're going to repaint them, they must be a neutral colour because of the contract running out next year. Now obviously Virgin Trains are going to reapply to have the West Coast franchise again, but they were told if you're going to repaint your trains, you must have them in a neutral livery. So what Virgin did was paint them white, so that's neutral, but add the Azuma wave to them at either end, basically just to keep them as Virgin trains, so it still has their brand on them. But yeah, whilst it's bland, it does work, I must admit. Train Spotter 2004 with 4 questions here, so I'll do one at a time. What is your favourite train line? It's probably the West Coast Main Line. What is your favourite train livery? Silverlink. What is your favourite train station? Doncaster. What is your favourite train? The Class 321 EMU for passenger work. For express, it's the HST. And for freight, it's the 70. And for international, it's the 373. EWS trains. Are you coming to Kent soon? Depends on your definition of soon, but at some stage this year I'm hoping to go to Kent, more specifically Ashford International, because that's really sort of the go-to station, really, it's that I go to. Oh God, you're going to have to forgive my pronunciation of the last name to this one. Jonathan Van Dyke? Lovely, if it is. My question is this: what is your favourite trains at series you have filmed at and why? Well, I've only ever filmed 2 so far. Well, 3. I told you so. I filmed 3. The East Coast Main Line was my first one. West Coast was the second, and Chiltern was the third. They were all good in their own respective rights because of the layout of the line, the stations that were each one, and obviously the trains that could be found on the routes. I have to say the West Coast was my personal favourite because of the sheer variety that I saw during my time from Liverpool to London Euston. So that's probably my personal favourite because of the amount of variety that I saw whilst I was on my travels. Ricky Nois, hello to 922. Hello. What do you think about Northern strikes, about the guards? Right, well, I've always been a firm believer that the guard needs to stay on the train. Yes, I can appreciate it's money saving, but at the same time, picture this in your minds, if you will. You're a driver of a train, pull up at a station, and all you've got to rely on are CCTV cameras situated at certain points along the platforms, and you've got to look at these monitors which show the entire length of the train, and that's it. You can't see any other part of that platform. It's like this. I'm looking at this screen and I can see everything that you can see right now. Now I can't see what's going on in that kitchen. Anything could be going on in there, but I can't see that. It's the same with the driver. His point of view is very limited. So everyone gets on the train. Happy days. He pulls off. Let's say that half of those passengers haven't paid to get a ticket because they might get on at this station that may not have barriers, and they may get off at another station that doesn't have barriers. So tax fare evasion is a biggie, but the biggest for me is passenger safety on the train, because the guard will walk through the train and patrol it. He will go from one end to the other and vice versa, and he will ensure that customer safety is the utmost priority. Now, the driver can't do this. The driver hasn't got basically a screen in his cab showing each carriage, because he can't do that. He can't take his eye off the ball. He's looking at the route ahead for any potential problems. He can't look at a screen and fiddle with things. If he misses a signal, or there's something in the line that he's not aware of, that he hasn't been told about, he could hit that, and that could be disastrous. So I personally think the guards should stay on the train, so that the strikes, whilst the strikes are a pain, they are needed, quite frankly. I don't know if the train companies take it into consideration, but really, you need to see it from the passenger's point of view. I feel safer knowing that there's a guard on the train who, if he sees an issue, he can get the train stopped. The driver's not going to know anything. Yes, you've got the cords in each carriage where you can then talk to the driver and say, look, there's a problem. But the guard has got all the kit on him, and he can radio it in to somebody else. He can get the BTP to come down to the station and see to things whilst the train pulls up, so therefore not making the driver aware and then causing him to panic. So I think any company should have the guard on the train. Yes, driver only trains, saves money, yep, well done, but really, they're putting money before sense. And I think that sense should prevail here, and they should keep the guards. They really should. And I think everyone's behind me. I don't know a single person that thinks, yeah, we don't need guards on our trains. And how would intercity trains work without a guard? Because the amount of people I see ask the guard questions, oh, how long is it to get to here? Or what connections can I get from here to here? What would happen? It's basically, you may as well have every station in the UK unmanned, quite frankly, because that's essentially what it's like. Because you can't, the driver's not really a point of call. The first person that you see when you get on the train is the guard. He is the face of the company. And without that face, what's going to happen? ScotRail 170434. Hello, hope you have had a great 2018 and keep up the great work. My question is, what do you think about the new ScotRail HSTs and 385s? That cough couldn't come at a better time. As I said, my 2018 so far has not been very good. It's been naff, quite frankly. Right, well, I think it's good that HSTs are getting a more lease of life. Yes, they're going to be in shorter formations. But this is where I think ScotRail have shot themselves in the foot. Because they've never had any real express services, have they? So, my thinking is that obviously they've shortened the formations of the trains. Keep some at 8-car formations, and run services like the following: Inverness to Edinburgh to Newcastle, or even Doncaster. Well, not Doncaster. Yeah, Doncaster, or well, there, yeah. Either no, yeah, Inverness to Edinburgh to Berwick upon Tweed and Newcastle, Northallerton, Darlington, or Darlington then Northallerton, then York and probably Doncaster. Really have purpose Scottish express trains, and same with Glasgow. So you have ones from Glasgow that would obviously do Glasgow to Edinburgh, but maybe Glasgow to Manchester, or just like Glasgow to Carlisle. I think that could work quite happily. Glasgow to Carlisle, that would be brilliant. 385s. They seem nice enough. I've yet to actually see them for myself in person. So when I go on a ride of one, I'll do a review of one. I'll do basically a train review. That'll be entertaining. Okay, Debbie Tanner, will you include passenger numbers from the ORR in your fact sheet about the station? Yes, now I should explain this because I don't know if everyone would have seen this, but basically, every station that I go to now, I'm going to include passenger numbers from the year previous, so 2017. So every station I go to, as I said, will have passenger numbers as part of the fact of them. Right. Chris at Railway. Well, yeah, 3 questions. Right, hey to 922, love your videos, keep up the good work. Thank you kindly. Got 3 questions here. Do you? What livery do you like on the HSTs? Well, East Midlands Trains has always been quite a good one, but the old school intercity Swallow has always been a keen one for me. Do you think Virgin Trains West Coast should bring back the HSTs? Yes, over the Voyagers, because the HSTs 8-car formations. Okay, I know the Voyagers are 10 cars, and they can tilt, but there's just something nice about travelling on a HST. Really, they're just good. And what do you think of the new trains? And have a great year. Well, thank you kindly. And what do you think of the new trains? Well, the new trains that are coming through the course of the next few years. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. It'll be good to see how they're going to operate, and how they're going to be utilised, really, and what they're going to replace. Because obviously you bring new trains in, you have to send old trains off. And we're slowly running out of space. Our network's becoming very, very busy. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen there. Okay. Jesbo78, what is your favourite flavour of crisps? Love your vids, by the way, and looking forward to the Stafford one. Well, Stafford has been filmed at today. Filmed in 2 parts. Both have a good mixture of freight and passenger workings. So hopefully you'll enjoy. Flavour crisps, prawn cocktail. The business. Sam Trips reports, what is your favourite station on the East Coast Main Line? Doncaster. Sam Trips reports again. Would you rather a Virgin Trains East Coast Class 91 and H2 DVT, or a Virgin Trains East Coast Class 43 HST? I don't quite understand what you mean. Would I rather travel on a HST or a 225 set? The HST I find more comfortable. The Mark IIIs seem to have a bit more give in them than the Mark IVs. They seem a bit more rigid. Okay. Achmed Fars Ramadan. I've heard that ICE may start services to St Pancras in the upcoming years. Is this really true? And if not, do you wish to see more international operators come to London? Yes, this is true. There was a trial a few years ago of an ICE 3 running through the Channel Tunnel into St Pancras. Now, they do want to do trains from Frankfurt into St Pancras. They wanted to do it a couple of years ago, but it never happened. But the cards are on the table, and they do actually want to run those services. Now, Renfe, the Spanish operator, they want to do Barcelona to Paris to London trains, and Trenitalia, they want to run their high-speed trains from Italy across continental Europe into England as well. So yes, it will be in many years to come. This won't be overnight, but in many, many years to come, you could see St Pancras International becoming the quite the hub of activity. Jack Sparrow, what do you think of the Cumbrian coast no longer having 37s? Also, do you like the new 390 livery? Well, I've heard the news that DRS are at some stage getting rid of the old fleet, primarily because they want to look at, say, cleaner methods. So the 68s and the 88s and the 66s. Yeah, it's sad because seeing the 37s on the Cumbrian coast was good. You can't beat a 37 on the beans, really. I remember when I was at Carlisle, the DRS 37 rocked up, parked up, lights go on, and the driver went boom, gave it the beans, and it was just an amazing thing to behold. You can't beat the gurgling 37. You just can't do it. And do you like the new 390 livery? Yeah, considering what they have to do for it, I think it is very, very good. Billy Tucker, who is your favourite train company, UK and then abroad? Favourite train company in the UK, I'd probably have to say Virgin Trains West Coast, primarily because they've had the contract, basically the contract for the best part of 20 years, and in that time they've done so much infrastructure work and brought in so many more services and basically really made it work for them. And abroad, I'd say Deutsche Bahn. You just look at the German network. It's flawless. Well, really, Deutsche Bahn and SBB, the Swiss Federal Railways, really, both those countries' rail networks are just flawless. Absolute flawless. Comment companion. How can you see train numbers from a distance? Well, I've got good eyesight for a start, and what you have to do is you basically get used to where the train numbers are. So on the Pendolinos, for example, after a while you get to know where they are on the trains. So if it's coming towards you at 125 miles an hour, you basically have to really focus, narrow down where the spot is, and just follow it. Obviously, it's easier from a distance, but if you're right on top of it, you have to really take a good look, a real good solid look. It's not easy by any stretch of imagination, but you do have to have a real good look, and if you can catch it, fair play. Same with the Voyagers. The Voyagers are really difficult, primarily because they're essentially on the undercarriage in small white, so they're quite bad to see. With the likes of the HSTs and the 225 sets, they're pretty much in bold, so they're fairly easy to see. So it really does depend on the type of train. Same with a lot of EMUs nowadays. EMUs, DMUs. A lot of them are on the front, so they're very easy to see. The Javelins at speed, difficult to see. Same with the Eurostars. You can get the Eurostars, you just have to be very, very quick. But they are good. That's basically how you can really see them. You just see where you pinpoint where the numbers are on the trains, and then you just basically train yourself. See what I did there? You basically look at the numbers, go to a station for maybe just an hour or so, and just practice. Practice looking at numbers from a distance, and then try and get closer and closer, and see if you can catch them. That's the best way I can do it. Hypnotic Pikmin. Can you do Nottingham? Because the old ones are very old. Yes, I did Nottingham about 3 years ago. The video is absolutely appalling. But yes, I will go back there. I will be going there this year. Now, obviously, I've heard about the fire. It's being treated as arson, which I find disgusting, quite frankly, because how can you knowingly do that when there's other people in that station? I can't envisage the mind of the man that would think, yes, let me set fire to this, knowing that thousands of people walk through this station on a daily basis and I could potentially seriously hurt or kill someone. Baffles me. But yes, I will be going to Nottingham. And final one before I stop this and then go on to part 2. Primarily so I can get another drink, because the old throat is doing somersaults in here. It's really giving me jip, so something to soothe the palate. And I shall be back for your viewing pleasure, because I know you like this sort of thing. Where are we? Lloyd G. When are you coming Winchester and Eastleigh? I don't know. I had been planning to do that as almost like a subscriber special type jobby, but to be fair, there's no reason to suggest why I couldn't just do that on a normal day. Which I think I may do. I may, I don't know when I'll do it, but it'll be this year. I can say this year for a certain, but when this year, I honestly couldn't tell you. Right. Well, I shall leave it there, because A, I need to go and get another drink, and B, I'm racking up to the 40-minute mark, and there's only so much of me you guys can possibly take in one big hit. I'm surprised you've stayed with me for as long as you have, because you're probably sat there thinking, good God, what is he on about? To be fair, I don't even know half the time. But yes, thank you for watching this, guys. Say, if I've not answered your questions in this video, then they shall be in the one to follow up that will either be of a similar length or shorter. Obviously depending on the questions and how I answer them and how robotic I sound. So yes, I'm going to get myself another drink, and then I shall be back in part 2 with the remainder of your questions. So, thank you very much, guys. I've been Tornado922, and I shall catch you in the next one. Take care.